Eric, I've never had a bad take. Ever. Yeah. Running Back Nation, what is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood, Running Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. You know the drill. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. If your notifications aren't working, turn them off and turn them back on. I have brought with me today 4-point play -1. We got J Tha Bul and Unc Dove in the building. Two halves of the Big Steppa Podcast. And we're going to talk about Sixers, what we think about the team so far, and anything else we feel like talking about. So be sure to throw things out in the chat. Be sure to throw topics, questions, whatever you want to throw out, man. And yeah, we're just going to chill and talk about it. What's going on, guys? How you feeling? Oh, I got you muted. My bad. Producer of the day right here. There you go. My bad.
Am I muted?
No, you're good.
Hey, it's going good, man. Hanging in there. It's always fun to see how much our takes changed from the last time we did the show.
Yeah.
Came in so confidently, so we got a lot to talk about and readjust.
Exactly. Well, you think we were overhyping them in the preseason a little bit?
Not unwarrantedly. I mean, I think we're being pretty realistic. I think the concerns that we had are the concerns that are flourishing.
Right.
Doc Rivers, bench, Joe Embiid ability to keep it going. James Harden is definitely was a surprise addition. I don't think we really thought that he would be scoring as much as he was as early.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 games, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at least. But but the problems are the problems what we thought. Especially with the first 2 games being like the best teams in the East. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
It is, yeah. That played a big part.
Yeah, so let's just go one by one. I guess your overall thoughts on the Sixers so far, because I don't think I talked to you guys since they started the season 0-3. Since everything was looking crazy for a minute. We just lose Jay. Yeah, they started the season 0-3. I was ranting about the Spurs game, like the Boston game. Okay, it's Boston. That's a team that's been together for a while. And we got a whole bunch of new parts and new players and things to figure out. Milwaukee game, kind of the same situation. I didn't like a lot of things about it, but I had to be like, that's a team that's been together a while. It's the beginning of the season. We got a lot of things we got to figure out. The Spurs game, I was like, all right, what the fuck's going on here? Because this is...
I was there.
Oh, yeah, Dove was there. Dove was in the building.
Oh, you were there? You were part of the boos, man? They were booing Joel?
What?
Yeah, and then they come back and they beat the Pacers, which is like, how do you really gauge the team, I guess, after the Pacers? Like, it's nice that they didn't lose to the Pacers, but, I still don't feel like we've had a team good enough since the Celtics and the Bucks to really gauge them. So the Toronto Raptors tomorrow night will be a decent test. What's your overall opinions on the team right now, Dove?
Definitely didn't start off how I thought. Where we're going, I think we're going to still go where I thought we were going to go. But the start just kind of surprised me. Embiid looks like he just didn't play ball all summer. The first couple games. The last game when we played San Antonio, that was his best game so far. He did his thing that game. But outside of that, it hasn't looked like he's been as engaged as we would expect. Doc hasn't changed at all. Coaching still the same. His rotation sucks.
He's
His
never gonna
timing of
change, man.
substitutions suck. Like, for example, I was at the first game, the Bucks game, right? Now, mind you, it's a home opener, so everybody's going ballistic. We were down, for a nice portion of the game. Then we come back, we do that nice run. Everybody going crazy. And B's on the bench. Now, I know it's hard to keep the best player on the bench, because, you get paid to do this. But at the same time, when Embiid got back in the game, the whole atmosphere changed. The game changed. The next thing you know, we were down again.
Wow. Yeah, I noticed in that game he said the plus minus was
real low
when he was on the
Yeah, and I know exactly what point you're talking about in that game, because Harden basically was dragging us back by himself, and I was standing in my living room. I was like, "We got Houston Harden." I was like, "Don't even bring Embiid back in the game. Let's just run Houston ball. Bring all the Rockets out here. Bring Mike D'Antoni out here. We'll just like I was all." And then it's just kind of one of those things, especially beginning of the season. You have to bring him back in. You're not going to be like, "Yo, you're stinking it up this game. Just stay on the bench." That would have caused, much more of a media narrative and all that stuff. So they brought him back in. And you're right. It changed the energy, and it ended the run that we were on, because Embiid was not good those first two games.
Bad shot selection. This doesn't like some type of disconnect there. I don't know, but his shot selection so far is terrible.
Well, I don't
He just won't stay off the ground.
Did you see that he said? Well, there's two things there. They said that he had plantar fasciitis this summer, which is he said that he couldn't work out, but they didn't tell us that before the season started. They made us think it was all good, and then we see 2 or 3 games, and we're like, "What the hell's wrong?" And then they're like, "Oh yeah, I had this." So that to me is like somebody in the back. I don't even know if I believe that. I feel like that was an owner or somebody saying like, "Oh, tell him this. Tell everybody this real quick." Maybe it was probably Josh Harris made a phone call like, everybody's about to sell their season tickets and not come to the arena. Tell him he had this. And then I forget, what was the second part that you said? I was going to say something to that. I forget.
Won't stay off the ground.
What's that?
He won't stay off the ground.
Yeah. There was an interview with his trainer or something. They were basically saying, I said this for a couple years, but they admitted that they teach him to fall to stop him from planning himself and basically tearing ACLs and spraining ankles and stuff. So it's like a catch-22. Like, you can see definitely that he just kind of dives on the floor instead of trying to really plant and land. And I really think that's what it is. It ends up being dangerous for everyone else because he's injured his teammates before by falling on them. So it's tough.
That's interesting. I didn't know that one.
That's crazy. Crazy. But
what do you think, Jay? What's your take on the team after 4 games?
Man, I feel like Embiid has a lot still to prove against good teams and in big moments. I mean, him dominating the Pacers was exactly what he was supposed to do. I mean, and it's always what he do. He dominates teams that that just honestly have nothing for him. But if he come up against a good defense, a good player, or a good system, it seems like he gets real stoppable. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have the harsh criticism. Like I mean, I get the booing definitely, but at the end of the day, like I've said it before, like I think we just need to adjust who Embiid is, and I think the team is starting. You just said it on your last live about how they played through more James Harden as well than playing through Embiid. So if we adapt to that, I think he will be okay at the end of the day. I mean, I just think we just need to like realize who Embiid is at this point until we see otherwise. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, he always been the type of player that dominate anybody who's lower than him. But when the competition picks up, the spotlight gets too big. It just it kind of crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because when he came out the season, stinking it up for 3 games, I was like, oh, Jay's probably like, I was right when you had that Embiid's not the guy rant, and I think
he's
not that guy. When I say he's not that guy, I mean he's not the guy who can, like, he's still you don't get rid of Embiid. He's still the best center in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's nobody that can replace him. There's no other guy I'd rather have at that position. But when it comes down to these, like I said, these big moments where we're up against real great competition, he can't play through them. He's not great at any of all his game. None of them, to me, are great enough to play through in the clutch moments of a game. You know, is he going to get into the basket in the bottom and, you know, be unstoppable under the basket? No, that doesn't seem to happen. Is his shot going to be unstoppable? Like, at times, he's a streaky shooter, so you can't rely on him on the shot. So it's like, at the most, at the end of the game, you're going to need him for defense. So, you know, you always going to want that guy down there at the rim. But offensively, he's not that guy. So we need to play through somebody else when that time is on.
Yeah, I think when you originally said that, I was trying to agree with you in the fact that I agree that a center cannot be that guy, you know, on an NBA team in 2022. And a center can't be that guy if he doesn't have elite perimeter players, because you could just double, triple team him. And what else can he do? What can he do with a triple team against the Boston Celtics? He's just going to get called for offensive fouls when he tries to force the issue. And when, you know, when Ben Simmons out there selling or James Harden last year in the playoffs, you know, he's just out there trying to do everything himself, and he's a center. He's not, you know, it's just, it'll never work. You're right, but I think it has to do with really the fact that he's a 7-foot center, because he's not Jason Tatum, he's not Jaylen Brown, he's not a wing that can create a shot from the perimeter. And then he tries to do that, and it's like, oh god, you know, here we go. Yeah, classic Embiid turnovers when he tries to do stuff like that. But yeah, so they're running the game more through James Harden, so you end up being technically right in that aspect. You know what I mean? You can't, and I think the first couple games we all really saw it, and we started to say, like, yo, it's clear now. We got to run the game from the perimeter and let Embiid just be a center, you know, because that first Boston game, the usage rate in Embiid was 36%, and Harden was 22%, and Maxey was 20%. And when I looked at those advanced numbers, I was like, this is all out of whack, bro, because you finally have guys on the perimeter, and you're still 40% of the game dumping it down in the post.
And as far as the rest of the team, I don't really have much to say. I can't really get to know the rest of the team because I'm so distracted by Doc. I just have hated everything Doc been doing since the season started. I mean, the guy goes down to a 9-man rotation at the worst possible time. There's a time to do that. When we wanted him to shorten the rotation, he refused. Now we have all these guys, and we need to see who belongs where, who plays where. He cuts everybody minutes down, and he's doing like a playoff rotation. I'm like, what the f is wrong with this guy, bro? It's like it's so retarded, because I want to see, like, we haven't been able to see if Tha Bul improve. Let's be honest. We can't even be like, we can't even, you know, critique the guy because he hasn't got any minutes. I mean, you could go from preseason, but I would like to give him a chance in the regular season to really show, you know, how he looked. And actually, he looked pretty good in the preseason, didn't he? He didn't look bad. I mean,
he had the one game where he hit 3 threes, and I was like, oh, he's 3 for 5 from 3, 3 for 6, 3 for 7, whatever. That's what you want him to do.
I mean, it's just weird because the guy had so much up last season. I mean, I know it kind of died down towards the end of the season, but at one point we were talking about trading this guy for real pieces in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was a chance that we'll see him and see what he could do to the rotation. We haven't seen Shake like that. We've seen a whole lot of Milton. I mean, and I like what I've seen so far, but it's just baffling that he's getting so many. I didn't expect him to get so many minutes. And, like, he's practically our 6th man, just off the strength of minutes. He's our 6th man. Right?
D'Anthony Melton you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Like, I understand everything you just said, and I agree with I agree with you. But at the same time, when you really think about it, it's like, well, how many players do we want Doc to play?
I mean, that's true, but it's just like, I don't know, bro. I didn't know he was going to favor, at least in this many games. Like, I'm not talking about after the first game, but now we're on, like, game 3, 4, going on 4. And it's like, I didn't know these guys were going to be such heavy rotation pieces early on and not see where everybody else got. But maybe they know something I don't, you know.
I mean, I had a feeling he was going to try to integrate certain people like Melton for sure. He was going to get integrated as much as possible. And then, you know, Doc got that thing. He always going to choose the older player over the younger player. So, as you can see, Reed is getting less time than Montrezl Harrell.
I thought he was going to.
They could be on the court together, though. I've seen one time they was on the court together, and they kind of was moving off of each other. I think Doc should try that a little bit more instead of, like, playing one more than the other. It's just like, It's just lineups and timing is just bad. Like, timing is just, he coached like he's still coaching the '08 Celtics.
It's never been good. It's never been good, man. You know, he got fired from a couple teams for this exact reason. And when the criticism gets there, he doesn't stop. He doesn't change what he's doing. He just keeps doing the same thing over and over. So I at the end of the day, I have no faith that Doc Rivers is going to change his ways. He's 61 years old. He's been doing it like this his whole life. He's not going to change his ways. We just have to, you know, the talent has to be good enough on the floor to beat the other team. He's not. I say this a lot. He's never going to outcoach anybody. He's not. You're not going to get in a situation where you're down 2 guys and he coaches up. You know what I mean? I don't think Doc Rivers is ever going to coach up. I think Doc Rivers needs to have the better team to win the game. So I guess there's not all hope is lost. But if I had to bet money on it, I would bet you're not winning anything with Doc Rivers. That's just what I think. I don't see him changing, and I see his deficiencies slowly. They came. I thought it would take a little longer than this. I was like, we got 4 months off. He's gonna remind you guys how crazy he is what I was saying to everyone. It took one game. You know what I mean? The first game of the season. And Jay, I like that point that you made, because the first playoffs run we had with Doc Rivers, I remember him running like a 13-man rotation, and we were like, why the hell is there a 5-bench lineup in the third quarter of a playoff game? Who was it at the time? Dwight Howard and all these guys out there. And then, we start a season, and I think what you were trying to say is that's the time that you want to experiment, and you're playing 9 guys. And so we're like, you know, for 3 straight games, to where we're like, Daniel House doesn't look good. This guy doesn't look good. This guy doesn't look good. So why would this not be the time that you're experimenting with different lineups? So I don't know what to expect from Doc Rivers, man.
You never do, and that's the thing. So, I mean, I wish we looked better, as far as a team, but I mean, I'm not freaking out yet, because, like I said, the first 2 games, there were some tough teams. I mean, Boston. I mean, they were on. What was it? That was the night they were celebrating.
Russell.
Yeah, Russell. It was the atmosphere was crazy. That game was pretty much a done deal from the beginning.
We had the game at some point, though.
Yeah, exactly. And then we were in it, and then in the Bucks game, we were literally in it. So, I mean, yeah. So I think it's still potential to look good, but it is concerning because those are our competition. I mean, we can beat all the bad teams we want. We can beat all the middle of the road teams we want. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to see at least one or both of those teams. So it is concerning on that aspect alone.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I want to know if you can beat the Bucks. I want to know if you can beat the Boston Celtics. You know what I mean? Beating the Pacers is a good way to get your confidence back, and take the beginning of the season to build chemistry and figure out who goes where and who should be here and who should have the ball at this time and things like that. But at the end of the day, and there was points of that Pacers game where they cut it to 8 in the fourth quarter, and I was like, we're actually going to blow this game to the Pacers right now. Then it was about to be all bad if they didn't pull out that win.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. I mean, but you're defined by your losses, so so that's unfortunate, but that's how it is. But I mean, tomorrow, like you said, against the Raptors, a team that we struggled in the playoffs against, but we did make it through. If we could go up here and smash them, I think we need that for our confidence, because we did really do. And James Harden, we got to give some credit to James, because he actually so far has done exactly what he said he was going to do. He came back looking a lot better. I don't know what happened against the Spurs that night. I guess it's going to be nice like that. But, I mean, 3 out of 4 ain't bad, he had great nights on the other nights. And it's looking good, and the midi is unlocked. The midi is definitely unlocked, and I'm liking it. It's unlocked. And the crossover is back. The crossover is back.
The crossover is back, man.
And the main thing we wanted them to do is to be able to beat people off the dribble. And thus far this season, there's only 4 games. Thus far, he's been beating his man off the dribble and getting to the rack. Not exactly like Houston, but 85-90% of that is still great.
Yeah, that's really all we need from him. That's really all we need from him. And when he's hitting a 3, like I said, what I saw in the preseason, he's getting more elevation. He's getting his jumper looks great right now. Not just the three, the mid-range jumper. He's shooting more mid-range jump shots than he ever shot in his career right now per game, and he's shooting like 58% from the mid-range, and that's a pretty crazy stat. That's like a DeMar DeRozan, mid-range stat. So if he can keep that up too. What's that? What's that, Dove?
So we called it, like we talked about it right before the season started when we had our episode. Like, yo, he got to get in touch with that mid range. Still wanted to see him post up more, but the mid range, he worked on it, and that's like a breath of fresh air, because that means in the playoffs when his when his three not falling, he can go and he can get in the lab with his mid range.
Yeah, I remember when you first said James Harden needs to post up more. At first, I was like, what? I was like, are we talking about? Because I don't think I've ever seen him post up in his, just watching him. I don't remember, and I didn't watch the Houston days like intently, but I don't remember seeing James Harden ever like back somebody down and shoot a turnaround fadeaway or anything. And then I've seen it a couple times. I've seen it a couple times so far this season. I've seen him take somebody in the paint and do like, a sort of a post spin, finish at the rim. So he's a big dude. He needs to use his size. You're right.
I think he's cognizant in person, like no BS. I was like 15 feet away from him. He husky, like strong. Like I ain't never seen him this strong. Like it was like LeBron minus 4 inches. You know what I'm saying? Like he looked crazy. And my thing always been with the post up thing, right? If you look at all the best guards that scorers, they can post up. Maybe not Dame. Like Dame don't really post up. But you look at Kyrie Irving, Kobe Bryant, even Devin Booker will put you in the post. Kawhi Leonard. Like you go down the list of guys, the best scorers, even Dwayne Wade will post you up. The best scorers as guards, they can use the post, and that makes them like put you up here. Like James Harden could score all-time scorer, but his more was always penetration. But if you just add that post up, like we talked about last, it's going to make his career longer, like the mid-range is. So I'm saying if he could like do those two things this year, the sky's the limit on offense, for him. Now open up stuff for the team too.
I agree with that. I think he's at an MVP level right now. I really do. I don't think we'll ever see, 36 points per game. What he was doing in Houston was, we kind of, as basketball fans, took it for granted. Like we didn't realize that you're probably never going to see that again. Those scoring runs that he was going on in Houston. But the level that he's at right now is very, very good. And yeah, to have Joel Embiid, the most dominant center in the game, runner-up MVP 2 years in a row, to be your number 2 scorer, yeah, that's pretty good.
Another thing this tells me about like us as the Sixers, like this is going to tell us if Joel Embiid is really a team player. He's never had to deal with somebody coming in and being, higher scorer, more shot. So this is going to show us where Embiid mind really is. We talk all that. And we want to win stuff.
I'm not convinced just because of one game that we stopped playing through him. When have Doc been ever been able to change his mind that quickly? So,
Never.
So I'm not completely sure that we're going to continue that, but I do agree that it's interesting to see if Embiid can adjust to that if that does become the case. Because he never had to play second fiddle to pretty much anyone.
Well, one of my callers made a good point the other night. He brought up Jimmy Butler. When Jimmy Butler was here, in the fourth quarter of those games, Joel was taking a back seat to Jimmy Butler, and I haven't thought.
And that's and I always forget about that. And that's when we had our best chance to win, honestly.
Yep.
Because those moments that I said be not that guy for, Jimmy Butler covered that up because he was that guy for those moments.
Yeah, exactly. You need that. You just can't have your go-to guy in a fourth quarter and in today's game just can't be a center. I just don't think it can be a center. It can be Jokic in Denver because he's more of a perimeter style center. You know what I mean? He's more of a handle the ball facilitator kind of guy.
People are saying Duncan as well. They're saying Duncan was that. I saw a couple of people right there.
Yeah, that was in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's not what I'm talking about, bro. First of all, the zone was not legal. You had to be within arm's length of a defender. That was illegal defense if you ran a zone. So you had to be one-on-one or double teamed, Tim Duncan. But it was easier for him to get down on the block and be in the spot that he wanted to be in. And Tim Duncan on the block, who could stop him? He just turn around off the glass all day, every day.
But that's why I wish I had like Embiid had something that was unstoppable. If he just had, I would say he was that guy if he just like had one unstoppable thing about his game, and I just can't name it. Like his go-to, like sometimes is not enough. Like
go-to is flop a lot, but whatever.
You know, I don't want to be, like I said, he's kind of a, you know, that expression. He remind me of that expression, you know, a jack of all trades, but a master at none. You know, like I just wish he did one thing that was super great. Like if he did have an unstoppable turnaround or was just so dominant under the basket. Like when you're just like, okay, it's time to turn this on and do this so we can get these points. I don't think he has that. He hasn't unlocked that yet. He hasn't unlocked that type of game yet.
Everybody in the chat's roasting Tobias Harris right now. Tobias,
I've seen that. What's that about? Because he's been bad.
I don't
been paying attention to Tobias.
I don't know if he's been bad.
Like, yeah, he's been all right. I mean,
we don't care as much. We don't care as much right now.
Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm like, all eyes is kind of like on Embiid and Harden at this point. Like, Tobias is kind of the hot seat for me. Like I said, Tobias just have to show up and like at least give us 15.
And he can't be the scapegoat anymore. He can't be the scapegoat anymore. Like, we can't be like, yo, we lost because Tobias. You know what I'm saying? Because we got 3 other players that's playing at a higher level. So he's like the forgotten one. You know, he's like the Mike Miller of the team.
Right.
Yeah, and also I think Tobias is doing what he needs to do to fit in because, you know, he always liked getting his points in the paint and, you know, backing people down, scoring in the post and stuff, and now he realizes like I gotta stay on the perimeter. I gotta continue to stretch the defense and I gotta shoot it when I catch it. And that last game in Indiana, he put up 10 threes. He was 4 for 10. So, you know, that tells me that he's staying on the perimeter and he's just shooting threes when he catches the ball. And that's really what you want Tobias to do. You don't want him to be slowing down the game, dribbling out the shot clock, trying to get 2 points under the rim when you got Embiid down there. So I think he's trying to, you know, fit in the best he can. If he stays on the perimeter and shoots 40% from 3, that's all you can really ask for him.
He's gotten a lot better. I don't know if he's gotten better or he's just doing a little more. He's good. He's pretty good at cutting to the basket. I like to see a little more of that. Like he's good at like when he like do them unsuspected cuts to the basket. I said that one time he did get a shit beat up by somebody.
Lopez.
Who was it?
Lopez.
Yeah, Lopez.
I don't like that one.
That was twice in the same game. He tried to dunk on Giannis in the first quarter.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was bad. That was nasty. I mean, he was a little out of pocket for that, but I mean, I see the effort. I see the effort.
Respect the effort. We respect the effort, Tobias, but it's Giannis, man.
We gotta leave that soul food alone, man. Well, yeah. Tobias, just keep doing what you're doing. Stay alert. Stay ready to shoot that trigger as a 3. You know what I'm saying? Stay in the game, man. Don't let nobody get you out of your game. I think that's what he does a lot. He listens to us. Not saying that we never right, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
listen to us.
He plays into his head.
Listen to us, and we got you.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about Ben Simmons right now.
I know. I saw something.
We'll do that in a minute. We'll roast Ben Simmons a little bit because why not? Because I'm enjoying every time I have it in a topic in a video or stream that I do. There's at least one in the chat that says, "Why are you still talking about Ben?" And I responded today to one of them and I said, because I suffered for 5 years and I want to watch his next team implode, and I want to watch every second of it and I want to enjoy every second of it. So you deal with it. But no, the last Sixers, I think, topic that I have, well, I guess there's a couple more, but people saying Tyrese Maxey should come off the bench because it's looked like in 4 games, and that's an exaggeration in 4 games, you know, or an overreaction in 4 games, but it's looked like Maxey's having trouble really finding his scoring groove, you know, alongside James Harden and Joel Embiid in the starting lineup. It's like either, you know, the San Antonio Harden had 12 points. He had a terrible game, and Maxey had 25, you know, and then last night Harden has a great game, Embiid has a good game, and Maxey's kind of nowhere to be found offensively. I think he was like 3 for 11 or something like that. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Because a lot of people are looking at the lack of production from the bench. Last night the bench was good, but lack of production from the bench and the fact that we have like a prolific young scorer in Tyrese Maxey in the starting lineup and there's only one ball to go around. You know what I mean? I think it's a decent argument to say like, bring him off the bench. He'll be 6th man of the year, and we'll have a more. I don't know. What do you think?
It's definitely not a bad suggestion. I'd rather him thrive in the starting lineup, though. To be honest with you, it's unfortunate that's not working. I can't really pinpoint exactly why it's not either. Because even, I mean, what do we like? I mean, he's shooting the ball enough, right? But
yeah,
I guess he's just not comfortable. What you think? He just needs the ball in his hands more to feel comfortable enough shooting the ball? Like, what? Because we was never running, like James Harden is running point, right? So that was always the case. So I'm a little confused of what exactly is not working here. You think he needs to run point on a coming off the bench?
I think it's a rhythm thing.
Yeah.
It's been fine. Harden, because he's not used to Harden. Like, Harden wasn't shooting like this last year. So you got to get used to, playing off of Harden a little bit more on a scoring system. Harden, a couple 20-point games, but not like 30. You know what I'm saying? Now the last couple games, he was scoring.
Because what concerns me is that who comes up, then who replaces him in the starting lineup, and do they become?
That's a great question too, because we already don't really have enough wings. Like Daniel House is really the small forward coming off the bench. So if you put Maxey on the bench, like, is Daniel House in the starting lineup? Then you got PJ Tucker, Daniel House, Tobias Harris.
I think you can start Melton at the 2 and have Maxey come off with the second unit, him and Shake. Even though I like how Shake.
I feel like there's trading places a little bit, Like, and then DeAnthony, he's a guy who likes to shoot a lot. He's not gonna be able to shoot a lot in that rotation.
Yeah, but I think Maxey's a guy that you want to shoot a lot, and DeAnthony Melton you don't necessarily want to be shooting.
Want to shoot a lot. That's true.
Shot maximum.
Yeah, Melton's a shot chucker for sure. You know what I mean? He'll be 7 for 10, and then he'll be 0 for 10, and that's that kind of guy. That's why I think he's a great guy coming off the bench, and
somebody said start Tha Bul.
Oh, somebody said that on a call last night, and I was like, oh man.
So you had 2 people not being able to shoot. We already got to do with PJ Tucker. And then
that's like Lakers lineup.
What's up, Dave? Longtime subscriber. How you doing? But I from what I saw from J Tha Bul, the first game in Toronto, or not in Toronto, he wasn't allowed in Canada, but the first game in Philly in the Toronto series last season, they didn't even consider guarding him. They didn't even look at him. You know what I mean? And he was reluctant to shoot it. Then he gets in his own head and he airballs a wide open 3, and it's like, oh my God, we're playing 4-on-5 again. He's so good defensively, but his offensive liabilities are just, I feel like it's Ben Simmons all over again. Really, you're playing 4-on-5.
Yeah. What this guy mean? The super chat. He said they don't practice.
Can you guys talk about how this team does not practice? It's so obvious with how confused Embiid and Maxey look in our offense.
I mean, that's true. They do look. We said it, like Tone said it, I think. He said this team has no identity. Like, that's true, but it's because they don't practice, or it looks like they don't practice. It's being, funny.
I think Embiid's been I think it's been kind of a known thing in Embiid's career that he doesn't necessarily practice, because he's always been rehabbing injury, or he's always been load managing injury and stuff. So I think this is like last year and this year was the first real years of Embiid's career where he was allowed to go 100%. And, I don't know, maybe he's not used to practicing, because it doesn't look like he practiced all summer. I know that.
No. Well, if he had plantar fasciitis, I don't even know why he's paying if he's still suffering from it. If he knew that he
was not in pain, though, so I don't know why he would.
Yeah, he could have started the season off on the bench. I'm not trying to be funny. He could have started the season off on the bench. We could have worked our way. I can guarantee you, if this is going to sound crazy, if he started his way that it's like off the bench, on the bench at the beginning of the season while he rehabbed or whatever, Harden, but he had the team rocking.
But they never claimed that it really bothered him. And that's the weird part. Like, I don't understand how they tried to use that as an excuse, but then they also said he's not feeling any pain. So I'm I'm a little confused on which one it is.
They were basically trying to make an excuse that he didn't work out all summer because he couldn't,
Right.
run. So that's why he looks out of shape and tired and lethargic and whatever else. That's basically what they were trying to say.
It's crazy because he looked like he got smaller, but it just didn't translate into energy or anything like that. But he looks like he's smaller.
Yeah, I thought he looked slimmer too in the preseason. I thought he looked a little slimmer.
You gotta get his legs back. I don't know, but we pushing for you, Embiid. We pushing for you, big fella.
Yeah, I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to be that guy, man. Honestly, like, he's still our guy.
We need him to though. Like it's not even a one thing. We need him to. Like,
yeah.
Bro, we can't get over the
Honestly,
hump.
we want the chip. Yeah, we want the chip. He gotta. He said it.
Him and Harden need to be on one court.
Yeah. I think he'll get there. I think we all, I was overreacting after 3 games, of course. But then seeing him slowly get better game after game, it's like, all right, I said when he wasn't good in the Boston game and the Milwaukee game, people were basically all over him, and I was the one saying like, he's always kind of been like that. Like, and I pulled up a stat that his first 18 games of last season, he averaged 23 points per game, and his next 50, he averaged 33. So, it is what it is. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying you should come into a season out of shape, but he's 7'2", 280. It takes him 20 games really to get to his full potential. It just is what it is.
He's not the only one that ever did it. You know what I'm saying? Especially given his circumstances. So, I work with him. We work with him.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to the next time we play both of these teams. I got to look it up to see when, but I would like a better performance the next time. And hopefully there won't be no injuries.
Boston's, from what I've seen so far, man, Boston's going to be tough. Again, they've had a couple years together now, and another year of development.
They look really good. But here's the thing. We're either going to, go in thinking that this team could get over the hump and beat that team, or are we going to bow out now and say they're the better team?
I'm saying, I already told you my pick, so we're going to be whoever in front of us, when it comes down to it. But I just think Boston is just good. Like, they just went to the chip. But they didn't some teams go to the chip, come back the next year, they lose their hunger, and, that chip off their shoulder. It looks like Boston is, hungry still. They lost their coach. It looks like they ready to go.
A lot of people thought that was going to hold them back, and I didn't. I didn't get that. I was like, nah, man. I get it. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. He's definitely a good coach, but I'm like, that team is still solid. It's not going to just fall off because they're coached. It's not, they're going to find somebody that know what they're doing halfway, Like,
he was in the trenches with them last year, so it ain't like he oblivious to everything. He might have some different philosophies, but they were together.
Yeah. So, I'm just talking about sports media. Like, they were acting like, their rankings were dropping.
They were acting like it's I had a video talking about that. I was like, yo, that just paved the way for the Sixers to take the East. Ime's out of here. But it's like, it's really, it just kind of proves like, and it's not like he's not coaching, he's not there, but he's definitely communicating with everybody. Unless he's banned from communicating with everybody. I don't know the details, but
it's definitely a hurt. Like, it's definitely going to hurt the team. Like, not to have your coach there, but it's just like they're still going to be tough as hell. Like, that's based on. So I knew they were, not going to take too many falter steps. It might hurt them most in the playoffs. If they're missing it, because it's going to last that long, the whole year, right? Yeah. So, maybe they'll miss his genius in the playoffs, but I expected this team to dominate through the year. And I can't wait to see each time we go against them at least 3 times, right? 3, 4. So,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to each one of those battles because it's going to come down to us too. That's what I'm pretty much saying. That's pretty much what I'm saying right now. It's going to be us versus them in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we got to know if we're ready or not. I don't know.
Question: do you don't think anybody else need to be taken out of the start lineup?
I mean, according to the chat and according to my guy Romp and
Tobias
some other
Harris.
people, Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris.
So, I don't know. A lot of people think like
You gonna say who?
PJ Tucker.
Yeah, it's weird that people are thinking more, but I'm kind of cool with PJ Tucker too because, well, here's the thing. I'm cool with PJ Tucker coming out for the season, maybe in the starting lineup. But once the playoffs start, he has to go back in. He's going to playoffs in the playoffs. He is going to pay off in the playoffs.
He's going to hack the other team's best player, I know.
bro, if he makes it there, Doc's playing him 40 minutes a night.
I think he just plays better in the playoffs too, and like, yeah, that part too. Doc is not gonna, yeah. But I just think he plays better. I think he'll shoot better. I think he'll catch those corner three scores. I just think when the intensity is there, these players pick up, and he's an intense guy, and I think he'll pick up. I mean,
he just don't look good with us out there on the floor when we on offense. He just be out there. You just really got to look at it like.
I think he'll get more shots as the chemistry picks up. I think he'll get more corner threes, spot up shots, cut to the basket. What?
When T. Scheibel could play his role better than when he's playing right now. Today.
I don't know, dog.
If he can shoot like he did in the preseason, I'm with it.
So it's like what I say?
I need a couple more games. Let me put it this way. You are absolutely warranted in everything you're saying, but I just need more games. I need some more games.
PJ Tucker shoots a great percentage from three. He just doesn't shoot that many, and that's what a lot of people were saying to me. He shot 46.5%. He led the league in corner threes last year, percentage-wise, but he only shoots like 1.5 a game. So it's like, okay, yeah, he's gonna make it maybe when he shoots it, but like, how often does he get it there and actually shoot it? So, yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Somebody said we use a PJ Tucker way too much. The dude gonna have no kneecaps by the time the playoffs start.
He got to stick KD again. It's gonna hurt. Like, remember last time he had to stick KD? He was bouncing all over the place, getting crossed. Like, we gonna need him for them 6 fouls though.
Well, yeah, it's like it's like
the most backhanded compliment.
So who do you start then in place of PJ? Not Daniel House. Daniel House has not looked good so far, man.
Yeah, he's just all over the place. He's back in the bubble. I don't know, man. That's a good question, but
Cork
I don't know. Who?
Furcon.
Oh man, Ricky.
I really think he's done for good, like in the rotation. Like, we're not gonna see him unless we ball somebody out by 40, which we never do. But yeah.
I don't know, man. Chat is bumming me out. They say we got to replace Tobias. You say we got to replace PJ Tucker. I mean, that's most of our starting line. So we're not confident in the starting lineup all of a sudden now.
I mean, theoretically, PJ Tucker's role should work perfectly. You just stand in the corner and shoot when you catch it, like that. Yeah,
that's all you got to do. That's what I thought. I mean,
yeah. People on the court and all types of stuff. Like collision course. I'm going to give him some more time. I give him 10 more games. We're going to revisit this.
Yeah, let's give him, I need everybody to get at least 10 more games under the belt. By then, okay, my thing is about 10 more games, if this team is not good, then we can start having some real concerns.
We're definitely... Go ahead. No, go ahead, Jay. Finish your point. Go ahead.
And I suspect not only by 10 more games should we be playing a lot better. I'm hoping by Christmas we are one of the top teams in the East.
I think we're going to find out sooner than later. The first 3 games was like, okay, it's the beginning of the season. Then we beat the Pacers, and we're like, all right, we looked – the fourth quarter of that Pacers game really showed me – I saw a lot of chemistry. I saw a lot of things. A couple buckets from Maxey, a 3 from Tobias. James Harden went on a 6-0 run by himself. I saw a lot of everybody moving and getting their own shots and getting their own thing together. So I saw things in that Pacers game that I liked as far as like the potential of the whole starting lineup together. But you still can't. Again, you can't really gauge it because it's the Pacers, and they were without Miles Turner. So there was points where Joel Embiid had the ball, and it was Buddy Hield under the basket. Like what? Like can we really? Does this really matter? Really? So, but I think tomorrow night's going to be another one that that's either going to put us back where we were when we watched them play Boston and Milwaukee, or we're going to say, okay, they beat up on the Raptors. That's a good athletic defensive team. That'll make us feel better about it. So I think tomorrow's a pretty good test. Yeah. Mikey G, thanks for the support, man. 15 games, and if the ship ain't right, we fire Doc Rivers. Doc Quivers, he called him. Tired of this man not knowing what to do with the talent that we have. Harden took less for this.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's what makes it so hard to judge this roster, because I feel like in the right hands, this is more than enough to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Dove made a good point about, even though, the Celtics is a championship team, was in a running for being a championship team. They don't have a true center. They don't have a good center. There's no reason why your center doesn't play well. Your MVP running center doesn't play well. And I feel like the right coach will make sure something like that would never happen.
Toronto? Talking about Toronto?
No, I'm talking about Embiid in the game one. And the Celtics.
Boston.
Yeah.
They
don't have a true center. They don't have anybody they don't have anybody opposite Embiid that was able to stop him, but yet he was stopped.
Al Horford.
Yeah, that's his kryptonite, right? Al Horford, did he play? I don't feel like he played.
Yeah, he's out there again.
Yeah.
Defense.
Al Horford. Al Horford's old, but he's been the best Embiid defender in the NBA for a lot of years. He's the reason we signed him in 2000.
Took him out the
whatever
game.
That was. Yeah.
Too bad the team sucked.
Because we were like, the only guy that can defend Embiid is Horford, so we signed Horford, and it turned out to be a disaster. But Al Horford, he's like, I don't know, I feel like he's 40, but he still knows how to use his body and keep Embiid, struggling on the block. It's a mind game, absolutely. And they were without Robert Williams, who's still injured, but Grant Williams, there was another young big guy in there, but you're right. Like, it's not like big name centers that should be able to stop him. It's always just a big dude that's not really, an NBA star that's able to stop Embiid. Like Steven Adams I always say, throw his name out there. That dude can guard Embiid straight up. Embiid is terrible against Steven Adams.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fact. I think he's like, physically, he's just opposite.
He's the strongest dude in the league, I think.
Yeah.
People vouch for it. I mean, I have seen Embiid get him work, though. I'm not going to lie. I've seen him give him work. And it kills me because, like, Andre Drummond was a premier center, at some point. Embiid killed him, but I think he took his mind, too. Even what's the guy that used to play with the Miami Heat? Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah. He took his head.
I think he just kills dudes that's weak-minded. Goldberg, he gets trashed, too, and he does them dirty, too. So it's a select few.
Rasan Granderson, Montrez got to start. Oh, my God. I'm out of here if we start Montrez Harrell. Where are we starting Montrez Harrell at? At the 4 or what? No.
Yeah, definitely not at the center. I mean, I can maybe see it at the 4. Maybe he can replace Tobias.
No, bro. This is not 1999, bro. You need spacing. Like, imagine how much. It's just too cluttered.
Yeah, that's basically Al Horford and Embiid again.
Rasan, are you joking? That was a joke, right, Rasan? I mean, Montrez. I liked Montrez in the preseason, but he can't guard anybody in the NBA, man. He just can't. He just can't guard big guys in the NBA, man. He gets smoked on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and he can take off.
What else we think, man? What about the bench rotation? Like, is there any guys on the bench that you feel like should be playing right now that aren't getting any minutes? I think if you're not, we already talked about Matisse Thybulle a little bit, but I feel like we should have traded him in the summer if you weren't going to play him right now. You know what I mean? He has trade value. Other NBA teams want him because of his defensive ability. I said we should have traded him in the summer. They didn't trade him, and then they don't even play him a minute. So I don't know what's going on with that. Shake Milton hasn't really gotten a chance yet at all. I don't want to see Korkmaz. George Niang's really leading the bench unit, which is scary to me. That, I like George Niang. I think he's cool. I think he's fun. But really, I feel like if George Niang's your most productive bench player,
that's kind of odd. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any players off the bench that you feel like should be getting minutes right now?
Definitely Paul Reed. Definitely
Paul Reed. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely Paul Reed. And I just want to at least see if Embiid, Tha Bul improved. If he's as more of the same of last year, then have him back on the bench. But let's see what the kid can do. I mean, he had so much upside last season. Let's see if he improved. He could have improved.
Well, I think that's what happened in the first game. Doc went with his favorite player of all time, which is Montrezl Harrell, And I talked good about Montrez, but my boy Romp, right when we made that signing, he was like, this is not good. Doc's going to play him so many minutes. He's going to get smoked on defense. And I was like, come on, Romp, you're being negative, man. But he was 100% right. And Doc played him the first couple games, didn't play Paul Reed at all. And then he started the third game, I think against the Spurs, he worked Paul Reed in there. And then against the Pacers, I feel like Paul Reed, I didn't look at the minutes, but I think maybe he had more minutes than Montrez, but he's been seeming to use both of them now. But yeah, Paul Reed, he has fouling issues, but he can definitely defend a lot better than Montrez.
He can move his feet much better than Trez.
Yeah. Yeah, he can move his feet. He gets steals. He gets blocks. He gets rebounds. I like Paul Reed, man. There's no reason for him to not be. Like we said, we don't even really. We were saying why did we didn't really need to sign Montrez. We have other issues, I think Paul Reed 10 minutes a game to back up Embiid is a fine backup center.
Yeah, I honestly wish the Montrezl spot went to another shooter. I mean, it's a shooting league, and
I understand that.
I just saw a graph. We're pretty low on 3-point shooting of all the teams this season. I think fourth to last, something like that. So
I think we dodged a little bit of a bullet, though, because one of the guys we were looking at in the offseason was Danilo Gallinari, and he tore his ACL right before the season started. So
yeah, that's wild.
But he was one of the guys that I was like, get him, big bench, 3-point shooter.
Yeah, that guy can shoot.
What's that?
We got Melo.
Melo. Oh, Carmelo.
Oh, Carmelo.
Real Melo.
The real Melo. Yeah, when people say Melo now, I don't even think about Carmelo Anthony.
I soon forget.
That's sad. That's blasphemy. But yeah, what's Melo doing? Is he still unsigned?
Yeah, he's still unsigned. Still need a team. How much is he? Do he win a lot?
Bro, he been on the last couple years.
That's what I thought, but I'm surprised nobody thought it was worth to at least give him a shot for that. I mean, how much did he average on the Blazers? He was on the Blazers last year, right?
Lakers.
Oh, he's on the Lakers. He didn't play. Did he play?
Yeah, he averaged double digits.
Yeah, he was averaging 15 a game with the Lakers.
That's what I thought. He averaged about 15 a game. I'll take Melo. Y'all take Melo in the Sixers right now? 15? A good 15 points off the bench. And some nights he's going to give you 25. Those some nights he's on fire.
Does Melo give you more than I think the Anthony Melton coming off the bench because of he's a good defender for his size and a good hustle guy and a rebounder and stuff. I feel like
I wouldn't trade him for. I didn't say I'll trade him from anybody.
I'm just saying this. Yeah, but over George Niang off the bench, maybe because neither of them are going to play any defense.
He's another one. Yeah, he's another one, man. He can't guard smooth.
The minivan, man. I hate that Kate Scott says minivan now. She doesn't even say his name anymore. She's like, minivan to the rim. I'm like, come on. That's not a fun nickname. That's an insult. That means he's big and slow.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. That's the most backhanded nickname ever, man.
The minivan, bro. Yeah, he's just a guy, man. He's hitting a three. He's gonna give you 12 or 15 off the bench. But yeah, he's just so dopic. His feet are stuck on the floor.
He does not care.
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he cares at all.
He just as soon as he get in, he launches.
Yeah.
Launch.
But I mean,
Question
you kind of need that. That's a confidence. He has confidence. I gotta admit, the guy has some confidence. You need that. You kind of need that.
he does. I don't think he tries to be a better defender, though. I don't think he goes in the offseason like, all right, I'm gonna get in better shape and be quick. I don't see it. You know what I mean?
You killed me. That I think you said that your last year. You was like, K. Scott said he lost me. Like, he's the fattest guy on the team.
Yeah, what? She said he looks like he's slimmed down. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He looks exactly the same. He looks exactly
I don't know
the
what
same.
she's talking about.
I had a friend of mine took shots with him at a bar in Philly. He was just hanging out at a bar, and then it became this thing that he goes to all these bars in Philly, and they were making jokes on the broadcast last year, like Niang's gonna need an extra beer after this one, and I'm like, is this normal now? We're just talking about the fact that the guy doesn't work out and he just hangs out in bars.
And he was doing like cheesesteak testing too. When like I see him doing things, he was going around saying we had the best cheesesteaks. I'm like, just no.
Yeah,
Pick one spot, spread them out.
I think it's hilarious.
I gotta respect it. I think he's just accepted his role in the NBA. I'm just gonna do this, and I don't have to be better than that, and I don't have to work out, and I'll just show up and shoot threes.
He hasn't. I mean, his dude has done that and lasted a long time. So hey, I ain't mad at him.
Niang playing better at Russell Westbrook. Isn't that crazy? It's like, what the hell is Russell Westbrook doing at George Niang going around eating cheese sticks all day, playing better than you? Like, what do that say?
Niang can't get in better shape. He's a bowling ball naturally, as Sandra Anderson says. I think you might be right. Man. Yeah, Westbrook's been terrible.
Westbrook has been terrible. Can we roast Westbrook and like Ben, make it 2-for-1?
Yeah,
they're like the same person.
Let's end the show by roasting Westbrook and Ben Simmons. One guy tries really hard and isn't good. The other guy doesn't try and isn't good.
I think Westbrook is just completely out of. Like, it's funny. You guys see his commercial? He has a commercial where he's like talking about design and fashion or something like that, and then at the end it says "brought to you by the NBA." I'm like, you guys didn't talk about basketball the entire commercial. That sums up everything you need to know about where Russell Westbrook is at.
All right, can I talk about that commercial too specifically? Because this might not be my exact place to talk about, but the commercial, he's basically saying that I am uplifting the inner city with fashion. And I'm just naturally like, my natural response is like, I think there's a lot of issues in this world. I don't think fashion's going to fix it, bro. I don't think fashion is what has to happen here.
Yo,
that's like Morpheus, man.
And then it's like brought to you by Hennessy.
Yeah, brought to you by Hennessy by the NBA. I'm like, you guys are talking about drinking or the NBA the whole time. And yet the commercial is just all based in a couple of ways, man. It's like it shows you where Russell Westbrook head is at. He wants to be that boy is into fashion. Go do fashion. Get the hell out of here. What are you doing? Like, you're hitting the size of rim. Did you guys see that terrible last shot?
He wants to do fashion. He bought it. He opted. You know, James didn't opt into his $47 million player option because he wanted to build a better team. Westbrook bought into his player option as quick as he could. He's like, I'm getting my $45 million. I don't give a damn what happens.
Yeah, I think it's because he needs the money to start his own fashion line when he leaves the league.
He got enough. He got more than enough money. Well, I think he thought he was getting traded though, like we all did. I thought him and Kyrie was getting swapped somehow, some way.
Yeah, I guess the Nets are probably happy they didn't do that, man.
Are they?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you can be. So Kyrie had a little bit of a comment. They asked him about Ben Simmons, and he was trying his best to be completely honest, and it came off as, you know, taking shots. Only 4 games in, and he's taking shots. And I'm like, I think he was just answering the question honestly. And he basically said, like, you know, we're going to give him time and that his skill set's going to catch up to everyone else. And he kind of made an excuse and said that, you know, have you ever come off a major injury? He said Ben had a major injury. I don't remember what that is.
That part. Okay.
Sore back, and then he had back surgery, but that seemed like BS to me the whole time. But yeah, then at the very end of that, he said, like, we need him to lock in like the rest of us. And I was like, ooh. These dudes are about to be on his ass real soon, man.
The sad part about it, they are, and the sad part about it is that do you guys really truly think it's a lack of effort or it's just finally a lack of skill that just caught up to him? I think he's trying. You don't get 6 fouls without trying. You're trying something. It's not working anymore. Everybody's on to him. The curtain is unveiled. Nobody's just scared of him. People know how to play him. I mean, the fact that John Morant said he knew that he was going to debate him, like that means, dude, you're that predictable now. Like, you're predictable on offense. They cornered you a couple of years ago on offense. Now they probably going to catch up onto you defensively. And then what are you worth then? You know, the guy doesn't work on his game. It's catching up to him. Bottom line.
Yeah, you're on the money. I think he definitely tries to, and even when he was here in Philly, he tries to be a better. I said this too, and I sounded like such a hater at the time because he was the best perimeter defender in the NBA and whatever, and people were ranting and raving about his defense, and I was never with it because I said all this dude's doing is trying harder on the defensive end to cover up the fact that he won't do anything on the other side. I saw right through it the whole time. I'm like, that's such a cop-out to me.
And now it's not working. Like, who is he shutting down? And these first 4 games, he hasn't shut down anybody. John Morant went off. Eric Banks went off. Bro, you're not shutting anybody down. I didn't even get when they were saying he shut down Trae Young. Trae Young was still walking away with 30-some points. He's not shutting down anyone. So it's like, what is this guy doing? And then the Nets have decided to do the worst thing possible, which is take the ball out of his hands. It's the only distributing the ball is the only purpose this kid has. Without that, he's literally a trash can. He just there's nothing else to do.
I'm telling you, I've never been more correct about an athlete in my life. I was on the money, and even when he went to the Nets, I was on the money again. I said, so you're going to put him on a team now, and people were like, now all he has to do is pass to Durant and Kyrie, and they're going to eat. He's going to play defense, and I was like, no. In the half court, he needs the ball in his hands, and now you got Kyrie and Durant who are ball dominant guards. Now what's he gonna do on offense? And I was on the money that he can't do anything. He's just standing around.
I think people thought because Kyrie deferred to Harden when Harden got there, but Ben Simmons is not Harden. Kyrie's not going to defer to him. He's like, hell no, I put the ball in my hands. Kyrie's not going to take the ball out of his hands for Ben Simmons. That's just not going to happen.
Nobody is.
Yeah, he just to me it's starting to look like I don't think it's a lack of effort for sure, but I think it's a lack of effort because he's absolutely terrified. He looks so scared on the offensive side of the ball. It's really weird to me. I'm to the point where I'm not even really calling him like a loser anymore. I feel like there's something majorly wrong with this guy. Like
it's borderline bullying at this point.
It's sad because you don't see a 6'11", 250-pound person act like this. Like he's out there acting like a scared little kid, and he's a giant.
It's really weird.
It is. All right, but anything else you guys want to cover, man? We'll get up out of here soon. Thanks everyone for coming through in the chat, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Go Phils. We're in the World Series. Go Eagles. That's all right.
Go Phils, go Birds. All right,
Are you guys scared that if the Phillies win it all, then it blocks the Eagles' chance by the gods?
No, because I think the Eagles have a really it's all up to if Jalen Hurts keeps performing like this, but I think they have a really good system, man. Like all aspects of it. They have weapons in every. Now they have the two most lockdown corners in the NFL so far on the same team, Bradbury and
team.
Yeah.
Like we have everything. I never thought we have more than we had when we won the chip. No funny stuff.
Are you guys nervous about this division that just all of a sudden turned into the NFL beast?
I still don't think the Giants are for real. Like I don't know why. I feel like the Giants could be 10-0 and I'd still be like, yeah, it's the Giants. Maybe that's me being naive, you know what I mean?
No, I understand about that.
I don't know. Is Daniel Jones really out here killing it? You know what I mean?
Still average.
It's quite the fluke, but it's working, man. They keep winning these close games, man. They just keep getting by, squeaking by, man.
It's about to get interesting for sure. Opeth says sweep the cheaters. The Astros. You're talking about Phillies sweep the cheaters. Yeah, I hope they do.
Hope they watching them very closely.
I'm telling you, As far as the Phillies go in my lifetime, Bryce Harper's already done a couple of things that I would love for them to win a World Series, but that dude, I've never seen an athlete. I've seen them before. They're very rare. An athlete where the higher the pressure, the better he is. All the time, bro. Like the bigger
That's
game.
a bad man.
The biggest moment of the biggest game, he's actually better. It's like you never see him really fold in the biggest moment. As soon as the playoffs started, he's batting like 400. His on base percentage is ridiculous. And then he hits that clutch home run the other night. It was like, it's wild, man. He's locked in.
Yo,
like when I seen that with my own eyes, like wow, I just thought like to be a clutch baseball player, I think that's the hardest, out of the sports. Like you gotta think
definitely
to hit that at that time, like everybody's looking at you. You hit. It's not a free throw. It's a swing. I think a free throw.
The ball going 90 miles per hour.
Like bro, the way he did it, and it just was like as soon as he left his hand, it was just like everybody knew. Like you got to be some type of mother effort to hit that like that. Like it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and I all respect.
That man is extraordinary. I gotta admit.
He's like locked.
Badass.
He's locked in on the ball to where he's not a lot of batters in today's game are ahead of the pitcher. Like batting averages are going down because pitchers keep getting better. I feel like he's still ahead of the pitcher. Like he gets to the point where he knows what's coming. You know what I mean? It's wild. It's wild.
I gotta say, I never had two things. I never had a baseball jersey, and I never had a white player jersey. I want a Bryce Harper jersey. He's gonna be my first white player jersey ever.
Let's go.
He's badass, man. He made me a fan. I definitely might start watching more Philly games. I've always been a fair weather fan. I always hop on when we're in the playoffs, when we're doing good. So I'm not gonna act like, but I always wanted a Philly jersey, and it's going Bryce Harper definitely was my first one.
I say I'm a fair weather fan too, and you know what? Anybody that claims that they're not is a liar. Because I was in the stadium when they were bad, and that shit was empty. That shit was empty.
I've been to more Philly games than I can count, like over 10. I always enjoy myself going, but I don't really get into watching them on TV. But I enjoy myself every time I'm there, though. I love the game when I'm there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Go Phils, go Birds. Tomorrow night's a pretty good opportunity for us to gauge the Sixers a little bit more, see what they really got. So, thanks for coming through, guys. We'll do this again soon, man.
For sure.